There is no doubt about it that Netflix CEO Greg Peters is having a very tough year for 2025, given that he warned the board of directors ahead of time, he warned the many executives also ahead of time about how much of a disaster the series With Love Meghan was going to be on their streaming platform, and ultimately it was indeed a ratings disaster that led to a lot of people abandoning ship and heading to other platforms, whether it was Peacock, whether it was HBO Max or Amazon Prime Video, whatever it may have been. They are bleeding subscribers right now as we speak, and we already know that Greg Peters is really trying to do damage control for With Love Meghan Season 1 and what they like to call Season 2, which in reality it is nothing more than Season 1 Part 2. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing about Meghan Markle right now is that we know that she is also on the damage control train, not just for her brand as ever, but also for her image, also for the series With Love Meghan and the upcoming quote-unquote Season 2 for this fall. But there's a lot of other things going on with Meghan Markle. The reason why she's getting a second round of backlash right now is how phony she was recently. Multiple podcasts, during multiple interviews, crying about the negativity, crying about the critics, and just crying about everything else going on against her, essentially. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because we know that she kept also going on about how she loves hard work, she likes to work hard, and all this weird nonsense that she keeps talking about. Very inauthentic, very phony, very fake, typical Meghan Markle behavior. However, this is where it really begins to pick up, is that with the Meghan Markle backlash going through yet another phase of course, that right now, after she not only cried recently when on the subject about her critics, but also after acting in a very erratic way toward the general public. Now, one major development going on now involves Meghan Markle admitting the truth and confessing, making a very big confession to the people. Markle recently delivered the following: "If I really had to share the truth to all the naysayers and those that doubt my work ethic, I think now is the best time to admit something that I haven't really said before, but when you are trying to really grow your brand, in my case with As Ever, sometimes you have to go above and beyond, and so we have agreed to sort of attach my brand to my series with Netflix, With Love Meghan, in ways that you wouldn't find to be very surprising within the show itself. Because I think when you promote a product or a brand in a creative way on a program, you get the most exposure, and so it's really going to resonate with my fans and with my entire audience. It's going to make them point to the products that we have lined up in the show and say, hey, I could use that, or hey, I could see that in my life with this product. So we are finding ways to incorporate that into the show. Do I expect many to have issues with that? I mean, I guess you were going to have a noisy bunch over that technique, for sure, but that's none of their business now, is it? Another thing I want to share with everyone here is that in Season 2, we wanted to really expand our guest appearances beyond show business, beyond what you would expect those to be like actors, actresses, singers, or performers. We are really going the extra mile here to include, let's just say, very recognizable people beyond the film industry in Season 2 that is really going to get people talking, because to get people talking about a show, you have to have people on that will shock and awe everyone, whether it's good or bad. It's still going to stir up attention, I feel, and will gravitate viewers to the show. So we are having a little technique here going on with that there as well. I think everyone in this industry is going to be very surprised with what we are doing for Season 2, to not just promote As Ever, but to also include, let's just say, high-profile individuals. Now guys, let me just stop there one moment. I think what she's alluding to is the fact that she is bringing on politicians, as we discussed days and days ago, that she did have a lot of conversations with those like Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris to appear on episode 4 and 6 specifically of With Love Meghan Season 2 to cook with her and to talk a little bit about politics, culture, pop culture, all the nonsense that Meghan Markle wants to go over, and how it's going to really be just out of place for a show about cooking and lifestyle in a house. Very odd, but there's no doubt about it that is exactly what she's alluding to. We already know that both Kamala and Gavin have agreed to make appearances. We also know, unfortunately, that the board of directors over at Netflix, including the many executives, the producers, they're all for it. They believe it's going to attract anybody outside of the Meghan Markle fan realm, and it's going to attract people that follow those politicians to come onto the show, to actually watch it. And honestly, I think it's going to backfire. I think it's actually going to really spiral out of control. I think it's going to create a bigger issue. But what's the real revealing factor here is the fact that Meghan is going to somewhat incorporate her brand as ever, or her plans with as ever, into the actual show physically. When it comes to the products, when it comes to what she's using on the show, stuff like that, and how she's going to continue to do that nonsense. It goes to show you how desperate she really is to really kind of get as much recognition as possible, not just for herself, but also for her brand and her products and everything in between. And it's just going to backfire as well. It feels like that what they're trying to do here is that it's nothing more than a commercial for her brand as ever, along with the fact that they want to drag politics into this. It's going to really create a lot of chaos. Now, she goes on to conclude, "You will see what I'm talking about come this fall, but I will admit the negativity, the critics, those that are able to actually call me inauthentic, it hurts. It truly saddens me as a woman. People just don't understand my importance in this world and in this industry and what I have to offer. There's a great potential there, you know, of what I have to offer, and I think people need to cool it and really see what I have to deliver. It's about time that in season 2 I am going to unveil more secrets about my life. What better way to do that than in a show? And I think it will show everyone out there exactly how authentic I really am, even when putting myself in this very complex role that has been wrongfully criticized." So, wrongfully criticized, she says, about With Love Meghan season 1 and how season 2 looms for Netflix by this fall. Again, people have valid points of criticism for the series With Love Meghan. Now, a show like that most certainly does not belong on Netflix. It most certainly does not belong on any streaming platform, like, for example, Peacock, HBO Max, Amazon Prime Video, just talking about those in general. I don't think people would ever want to see any of her shows and or programs on any streaming platform, period. And it's why a lot of Netflix customers outright reject Meghan Markle's show, and why they don't even want a quote-unquote season 2. Again, they keep going on about that trope, right? That it's a season 2. It's really not a season 2. They shot all 16 episodes at once. They divided it up into 2 parts, and that's all it really is. That's really all it is. Now, sure, they're doing some additional filming for this June, but the only reason why they're doing that is they want to elongate all 8 episodes of season 2. That's basically what they want to do, essentially. So, again, I think that Meghan Markle is really just getting very desperate to make her brand as ever succeed beyond expectations, and how she also is really just desperately trying to use, I guess you could say, you know, shock value for her show to kind of get people talking about the series. Again, I think it's just going to drive customers away. I think it's going to drive people away from Netflix in specifically here. I think that when you look at things like that, the fact that she is literally openly admitting that this is partially all about her brand as ever. It's also all about her gaining recognition and her really kind of calling out the critics and going up against them as well, and how she's really getting torn up about that. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.